When Elise bought the old farmhouse, she did so with one intention: silence. After a bitter divorce and a breakdown that left her numb to the rhythm of city life, the idea of an isolated rural home felt like salvation. The house, decades old, was surrounded by skeletal birch trees and a fog-kissed meadow that sloped into a woodland. It was cheap, suspiciously cheap, but she chalked it up to age and distance. The townspeople in nearby Dusty Hollow had been polite but oddly quiet when she mentioned where she was moving. She thought nothing of it. For the first week, Elise unpacked, painted, and tried to settle her scattered thoughts. At night, she sipped tea and journaled, lulled by crickets and wind that brushed the windows like soft sighs. It wasn't until the second week that the house began to whisper. The whispers were soft at first, not voices exactly, more like breathy syllables carried through the air vents or along the wooden walls. Elise blamed the old pipes or the wind slipping through gaps in the boards. She ignored it. Then came the dreams. She would awaken each morning with dirt beneath her fingernails and the metallic taste of soil in her mouth. In her sleep, she saw trees that weren't hers, weeping willows and sycamores, and always she heard scratching beneath her. One morning her bed sheets were streaked with dried mud. Another, she woke to find her boots on, caked in soil. Was she sleepwalking? A friend in town, Lila, one of the few who didn't look at her oddly when she said she bought the place, recommended she see a therapist. But Elise wasn't ready to admit something was wrong. The house had been waiting for her. She felt that. Elise began hearing it during the day now, whispers curling around the baseboards, settling in the attic, sometimes echoing from the corners of empty rooms. Words were impossible to understand, but there was a tone, urgent, not angry, not cruel, just desperate. She began to notice the cold spots too, places in the house where the temperature dropped unnaturally, where her breath came out in plumes even in summer. One morning, she found dozens of dead moths on the windowsill in the upstairs guest room. Their wings formed a strange, almost deliberate spiral. And the basement, she hadn't dared to go there since she moved in. The door was old, the lock rusted, but sometimes it would be open just a crack when she came downstairs. She always blamed herself, or the wind, but she knew she hadn't touched it. Everything changed on the 22nd night. She was awakened again, this time by a sound not from within the house but outside, a low thumping, wet, heavy. Grabbing a flashlight, Elise stepped onto the porch. The moon was pale, sickly. The fields beyond the fence swayed like they were breathing. That's when she saw them. Footprints, muddy, barefoot, leading toward the northern edge of her land, where the trees stood like sentinels. Something compelled her forward. She followed. The air grew thick, oppressive. Her flashlight flickered and she swore she saw a figure ahead, female, thin, moving without sound, hair matted to her face. Elise called out. No answer. She found herself in a clearing she'd never seen before. The trees here leaned unnaturally, like something had bent them. The ground was soft. Too soft. She dropped to her knees, hands digging before she understood why. Fingernails scraped something. Fabric. A dress. With trembling hands, she uncovered a tattered sundress wrapped around brittle bone. A girl, no older than 15, mouth frozen mid-scream. Dirt poured from her eye sockets like tears. Police were called. Forensics came. The town was abuzz. A Jane Doe, likely buried over 20 years ago. Elise told them about the footprints, the whispers. They were polite. They didn't believe her. But that night, the dreams became clearer. This time, Elise was inside the walls, watching, trapped. She saw through the eyes of others. Girls, 3 of them, always girls. Each lured into the house, each silenced, one by one, buried across the grounds. Their faces were pale, translucent in the dreams, but their eyes, pleading. They wanted her to see. She awoke sobbing, fingernails bloody, more dirt. Over the next 3 days, Elise rented a ground-penetrating radar scanner. She'd read about it online. She told herself she was paranoid. But deep down, She knew. She searched the back fields first, near the creek. There the scanner chirped. Hollow ground, shallow graves. Police uncovered 2 more sets of remains. One had a bracelet still intact, etched with the name Lucy. The town went silent. Elise was called to the station. The sheriff, red-faced and tired, admitted the truth. There had been missing girls in the 80s and early 90s. All locals, all teenagers. The cases were dropped. Runaways, they said. No evidence. The house's former owner died in 1997, alone, no record of foul play. A quiet man, kept to himself. A monster hiding in plain sight. After the bodies were recovered, the activity in the house grew worse, not better. Furniture dragged across floors while Elise slept. Mirrors cracked in patterns. One night she woke to see all the doors in the house open wide, as if the walls were exhaling. And then they came to her. Full-bodied apparitions, the 3 girls. They stood at the foot of her bed, not ghostly but real, almost solid. Their mouths moved in unison. There's one more. Elise couldn't sleep for days. The dreams resumed, more vivid than ever. She saw a 4th girl, younger, hair tied in ribbons, crying, calling for help from somewhere dark, somewhere deep. Not a field, not the woods, the basement. Elise didn't wait. She tore open the basement door, descended with a lantern and a crowbar. Dust choked the air. It was silent, still. But beneath the mold and cobwebs, she found a square of the floor that sounded hollow. She pried it up. The stench hit her first, then the sight. A shallow pit lined with plastic, and within it, the smallest of them all, the 4th girl, hair still in ribbons, jaw slack, eyes glassy. Elise collapsed. After the discovery, the house finally went quiet. No more whispers, no more dreams. Elise walked the halls expecting the air to shiver, the walls to cry, but all was still. She held a vigil for the girls, candles in the clearing. She spoke their names, now known, Lucy, Beth, Caroline, and the youngest, Annie. The town finally admitted what it had buried. Memorials were built. The girls were laid to rest. And Elise, she stayed. The house, despite everything, felt different now, calmer, lighter, as if the walls themselves had exhaled. But sometimes, just sometimes, she thinks she hears footsteps behind her. Not angry, not cruel, just watching, waiting.